Now, once along, well, I have a sort of segment called a AU took over the fandom or OC took over the fandom. Of course, I need to explain what's a AU or OC. OC is basically an original character do you make for the show or just made it for yourself, sort of employing in your own AU. Now, AU basically means another universe. Technically, it's sort of made for fans who love the original IP, putting in sort of different positions or different story or different genre or time period, or just change the dynamics, switch power plays, or switch who was first or second to see what happens next if that dynamic changed or not. This is sort of giving more, basically more context, more stuff to the fans to celebrate whatever IP they really enjoy in the fandom or whatever IP they actually love, in other words. And today we talk about a manga slash comic took over the fandom of Kate Buttowski. It almost re-energized the whole fandom just because of one specific issue, or at least specifically the thing what all fans love about Kate Buttowski, sort of the relationship of Kendall and Kent, sort of fully developed and sort of explore even more. Because if you don't know, Kate Buttowski Urban Daredevil is sort of a 2012 show from XD and got sort of canceled abruptly, only having 2 seasons, a total of 52 episodes. But that show does have sort of a love kind of hate romance about the main lead and a side girl who kind of likes him but not really, that she is sort of the popular rich kid who not sure how to feel about Kit, but everything is sort of connected of the fan favorite episode called Movie Blitz. And this is the moment of, this is the episode that kind of rekindled the fans why they love this specific show and why they love this specific ship, because this ship is sort of obsessive with the fans. But because of the reason why, it's sort of how it's built in the series. It was built so well that people want to see, do they actually end up with each other? And that's sort of the focus of the comic. But interestingly enough, the fan comic, it was done so well, it's almost re-energized the whole fandom. How well? Well, believe it or not, the fan made comment, who actually was dubbed on YouTube not once but twice, have close to basically 1 million views. Yeah, that's how popular this comic really is. But interesting enough, the comic was actually translated multiple different languages. At least the ones I know would be English and Spanish. It was created by a person who speaks English, but you don't know, Kate Buttowski was so popular in Latin America, it just had to be dubbed by fans because they really love it. It's like very explosive. It's one of the biggest hits that Disney ever have in Latin America, more bigger than Phineas and Ferb, just to grab your attention of how much they love Kate Buttowski. So this is sort of an interesting, sort of re-energizing the fans. Now, how is the comic? Is it good? Is it bad? What it's about? And of course, I will explain everything a little bit. My name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going and like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine. If you do, thank you. Because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close because everybody who put like, comment, and share, thank you. Because of you, I am close to my main goal. Now, let's get started of what could do Meltdown. That's sort of a fan made comment and blew up the fandom once again. Now let's get started. Now, this is how it's going down this video, just to give you an idea. This sort of I'll talk about what is the show, what the characters, the ship, what the ship got popular, but also understanding some of the characters, explain how they actually break down to the comic of this fan comic, and how they sort of really understood the characters so well and expanded on the same episode when they meet the first time. And on top of all this, and give you my final thoughts. And that's how it's gonna go down about this video. Now, what is basically Kate Buttowski Urban Daredevil? Now, the title itself does explain what it is, but a little bit is more than that, because the whole show, basically, you follow Kid, a 10-year-old boy who actually lived in the suburbs, who once in a while does stunts, not every single day, but sometimes he does by accident because the sort of situation they put in himself with his best friend Gunther. But his worst enemy is his own brother, Brad, and some of his friends. Now, usually you also have rivals because they do show up in the comic, at least one of them. But other than that, that's basically what happens. But the show sort of got canceled before it really got good because almost around season 2, they were setting up this sort of all his heroes doing something big, one of the biggest stunts he ever done, but sort of a dream segment that started setting up for season 3, but it never actually happened. But this is the reason why people were kind of jaded. People wanted more about this insanity because the comedy was sort of out of pocket. The animation was super unique. That have sort of bean style that just stands out. And I don't mean what bean style how people faces. I mean the bodies. It's just something just really distinct. But also people do remember the shipping of basically Kendall and Kid, because both of them has a very unique kind of personalities that feels they do explode every time they meet because how different they are. But because the episode called Movie Blitz, this is the first time they actually kiss. You understand, this simple kiss when the first time they did it, a simple clip passed almost 5 million views if I remember right. You can find it on YouTube. It's just sort of shocking how popular this simple clip of this simple moment, how many people were dedicated watching this specific show because of this specific ship. But this is the interesting part, that how the show introduced the characters. Then the first time they kiss, but the rest of it is just sort of building up the reason why Kendall had feelings with Kid and Kid had feelings with Kendall. Even that is just so different because Kendall is just so proper, ladylike, very feminine, very opposite to a Kid who despises everything about her. But you kind of get why she is interested with Kid because everything around her had to be elegant, interesting, something sophisticated, and Kid is not. Kid is a mess. He is a tragedy about to happen and she can't turn away. She needs to know more about him because it feels more refreshing. But I love it, she was never excessive. At least not in the beginning. Little by little she become a little bit excessive, but sort of kind of okay excessive. It depends on you, how you feel about Kendall. But other than that, it's just over time having emotion. Even that the show put them sort of positions that they have to force to talk to each other or have to force to work with each other, make the building more believable, more likable. But at the same time, Kid did have feelings with Kendall, but at the same time you wonder why. But you also have to observe his family because Kid, two women in his life is a little sister who is basically a professional diva, and her mom is sort of the person who take care of the whole house. And then you get how they act. You get this the only female he actually knows. If you don't know what I'm talking about, sometimes guys fall in love with the opposite sex is because they kind of have the same emotion as the mother or someone close to them in their own family to be sort of attractive. Of course, they never do this on purpose. It's always done by accident. Just sort of where some people do fall in love the opposite sex because they remember of their parents. That's kind of weird, but it does happen. But they never done this on purpose. But other than that, the more you see Kendall, the more you see basically part of the personality of Kid's mom and a part of the personality in her sister and with Kendall. Let's face it, you do see Kid's little sister in her because how elegant, feminine, charming. He also that sort of kind of, this is to me, I'm the law kind of mother theory that her mom really is. You can see how these two kind of could feel more comfortable and safe with Kendall. The more they keep talking to each other, the more they sort of understand each other, how they actually work. And this is sort of a neat trick if this was sort of done on purpose. Usually, I'm 100% sure they don't do it on purpose, sort of accident, but at least give you an idea why we can sort of fall in love with Kendall, at least if you choose to interpret it that way. Now let's talk about a little bit about the Movie Blitz episode 7 of season 1 of Kid Buttowski, Irving Double Double, because this episode is a basis of the fan comment who blew up the series, because this episode is that good. Put it this way, the first time I watched Kid by accident was Esteca Siete. It's a sort of a Mexican channel. They just sometimes they show Disney cartoons and they dub them themselves, and they basically show that specific episode in that moment. When I watched it, I completely fall in love with the series, because this episode really represents what is the whole show about in a small nutshell, the best way to describe it. Because the first time you hear Kid in Spanish, his voice was really deep, more deeper than the English voice actor when belong here in the United States, because it sounds so manly, so elegant, so confident. You're just wondering, okay, I'm kind of lost. Why does Kid have a very manly voice? And it just kind of grab your attention off the excitement of the episode, because the whole episode is all about Kid who just want to see the movie he want to see. He want to see a action hero that he likes, because his movie is on theater. But the only problem is Brett's best friend, say Pam, if I'm correct, he is basically the manager of this theater, but he's sort of a dictator in the theater. He will push or shove anyone away and rip your ticket out if he doesn't like you or you don't follow the rules. And this is the problem. He doesn't like Kid. And this is the point that Kid realized he's not gonna watch his movie if he doesn't force himself into the theaters and watch it whatever he wants. And this is the whole thing make this busy special, or this episode, so great, because it's all the tactics, all the stunts, all the action. This feels like a blockbuster type of film. This feels like a cinematic film done under 10 minutes. In fact, you can watch the whole episode on YouTube, because Disney doesn't care. This specific show, you can watch it. It's like for free for some apparent reason. But other than that, it's one of those that's just mind-blowing. But at the same time, this is the same episode. It showed you the first time Kid and Kendall kiss, not on purpose. It's because Kid is tempted to escape Pam, and he has no way out in theaters, just to wait it out, but he couldn't escape that specific moment. He sort of risked it all to kiss Kendall to make sure to Pam doesn't really pay attention. He didn't want to be rude when he came in to see this couple kissing, so he turned around automatically. Because of this, he actually kissed Kendall, not intentional, and Kendall, this is the moment that she thought Kid actually liked him. But because Kid is sort of very young, he doesn't really like girls, he overreacted and told her, you taste like a library. And this is the thing, Kendall got hurt, but yet activated sort of emotion she doesn't realize she had, kind of falling in love and hating Kid. And believe me, this simple scene has so many views on YouTube. I repeat this again because it's almost mind-blowing. It's almost having 5 million views. It's just sort of nuts. But understanding why people love this, because after that, the whole thing is just built so well over the episodes that you kind of get why people love this ship so much. Because it just sort of makes sense. People who hate each other, the more they hate each other, or more start to be assessed, more understanding, more the fully falling in love being together. In fact, later episodes, they actually have a mutual conversation. Even that it doesn't help that people are basically shipping in the show who actually know them. That just sort of weird, strange, but done so well that you just go with it, in other words. And that's basically what happened the moment of the kiss, how Kid escaped and finally have the chance to actually see the movie. I highly recommend watch that specific episode. It really makes sense why the creator make a fan made comment of that specific moment. Now let's talk about the comic, created by Joe Forehead. But the only problem is I don't know much about the creator or the reason why he created this comic fan made one. The only thing he knows, he just decided to make it and that's it. 100% sure he was not expecting this to be basically blow up so much because people adore this comic. And the reason why is because it really focused on the best episode. It also focused on the relation of Kid and Kendall, and the reason why they fall in love with it. In fact, the comic feels more kind of like manga-ish. Well, it's like it says it's a comic, but it has sort of manga sort of tropes. Almost even that the characters doesn't feel like the characters drawing words because the character feels more like an anime or manga depiction of Kid and everybody in their own characters. It just feels more realistic, more focused on the eyes being more the focus now works, but also uses sort of manga tropes to really embrace this sort of new medium. But you know what? It works. In fact, a lot of fans always want to see a kid turn into an anime or at least something close to it because, let's face it, if you watch the series has a lot of action, a lot of crazy stuff because it's just sort of action-packed non-stuff with a little bit of romance. And the creator decided to go that same direction but focus on the specific moment of Movie Blitz when Ashley Kid kissed Kendall. He asking that question, what happens next, and taking it for a sort of serious approach. Because when you start reading Welcome to Mellowbrook, the beginning the whole page follow you in the middle of the whole episode of Movie Blitz because Kid is sort of fighting Pan, his only goons in the theater to escape and land in the same moment when he finds Kendall watching a movie, trying to figure out what to do next, not to get caught, and this is the moment the famous kiss in the series happened. But sort of asking that question, that sort of little moment, that sort of kind of intimate moment like, why do you kiss me? Do you like me or what? Or this or that? It just gives more intimate sort of moment to understand how they are, their personalities, and see why they actually like each other because it begins and ends exactly how you see in the original show how they first kiss. That Kid sort of kind of make fun of it and spit that out, but in between that Kendall sort of challenges Kid and Kid channels Kendall of, oh, you here because you like me or what? You want to kiss me or something like that. And they're going back and forth, not really sure what to do, this sort of awkward moment. Till Kendall get offended by Kid because he thought his kiss sort of tastes nasty to him because it's obvious he's still a young man. Till Kendall called the chauffeur to finally kick him out. But this is what everybody fell in love with this comic because this comic supposed to be probably just one chapter, couple of issues, and that's it. But it just really blew up, so the creator decided to at least continue on the next chapter because this thing has 2 chapters, a total of almost 80 pages. Yeah, that's a lot for just a simple fan-made sort of project, but it works so well. The pacing, the intrigue, the reason why basically Kid maybe made a mistake sort of insulting Kendall because that kiss he kind of did like, and this point everything getting more deeper, more interesting, and more different than the original series, but yet keep the soul of the series because it became more human because Kid went to the one person he never thought he'd come for advice would be Brad, his older brother, and his older brother started wondering, what do you want? What are you doing in my room? And Kid sort of explains, what do you tell girl if you like her or not, or how you feel about her? And this is the interesting part because the whole next few chapters feels sort of melancholy, like it feels he did a mistake, that he kissed her not realizing maybe I have feelings for her but I don't know how to take it out, especially how he insults the other person that he likes, even that he trying to be metaphorically with his older brother, and how his older brother kind of make fun of him, like being brat because that's what he does, but yet making more mature conversation that sort of older wiser brother that you never thought Brad could actually be feel a little out of place, but yet feel so much right. I feel how this older brother Brad tried to comfort his brother, saying, well, you have to try. That's what love is. You have to confront her, tell her how you feel the incident. And this is sort of how you build up the next day, because next day Kendall sort of got invited by a different guy, a sort of date, specifically Gordon, that could be the rival of Kid in the show, that because Gordon never appears that much in the original series. He appeared a couple of times with his goons, that he's supposed to be a sort of DMX, a famous writer that is basically a rival to Kid. He's also a narcissist, or trying to one up Kid wherever he can, but he only show a couple of times, not that much. But this is, I think, the first time that Gordon asked Kendall out, and Kendall doesn't know how to react because she's still dealing with her emotions with Kid, because everything happened under less than 24 hours. And this is sort of her kind of gently rejecting Gordon, saying, no, I'm fine, I have sort of things. But how the conversation feels so natural and believable, you get more into it, especially how Gordon becoming more aggressive and basically pushing her to make her decision to go in her own date, in her own basically secret party, in other words, to date Kendall. And the Kendall kind of didn't like that, rejected him, but he sort of forcing himself with her, and she didn't like it. But before things get more physical, Kid reappear with his own friends. Even that, I have to admit, that's sort of strange, because Kid usually with Gunther, and that's it. He doesn't have a wolf pack. In fact, he have two other characters that sort of slightly reappears in the series. You have the emo kid that, be honestly, he never reappeared that much. He's usually the background character that nobody knows who he is. He has very little dialogue. You also have Scarlet, that I was sort of surprised they used her, even that she kind of is fan favorite-ish. She's like probably top 5 fairy characters that she only appeared once in the series, because she basically sort of a stunt double who basically quit her job because a kid didn't like the show, or trying to cancel the show because he hated her little sister. But that's sort of maybe a mistake, because realizing how girls are actually equally good as stunt double as guys, it's one of those moments to realize he kind of made a mistake becoming good friends with Ashley Scarlett. And that's what actually happened in that specific episode, and that one time Scarlett reappears. Both characters basically become a group of friends that actually join a Kid, sort of hanging out. It's just sort of weird, because Scarlett only appeared once, and the show kind of pointed out she's a little older than Kid, but doesn't really matter. This is just a fan-made comment. It also was sort of weirded out they use the emo kid. Even that emo kid doesn't have a name or purpose. It's just sort of a character you forget exists in the series. So yeah, I'm sort of surprised they used those specific characters to make his little friend group. Usually he just stuck with Gunther, but all of that, they sort of appear to stop basically Gordon. He's sort of pushing too much Kendall, and Gordon and Kid don't really like each other. They have a sort of kind of wording back and forth, like, back off bro before things get too real. And Gordon sort of backed down a little bit, but sort of threatened Kendall and walked away. And Kendall feel a little bit unease, and Kendall's friends and Kid trying to calm her down. Everything's fine. But Kid being Kid, he is not letting go. He decided to do, once again, this famous thing he does in the series, does a stunt. What type of stunt? Well, he decided to do a skateboard up the tower of the school all the way to bottom and go straight to Gordon, hitting his nuts specifically using the skateboard, using the fastest speed he can going down below to hit him. And this is what they introduced Scarlet, because it sort of makes sense. Scarlet get a whip of this is saying, what are you doing? What were you doing this sort of stupid stuff? Don't do it. And Scarlet trying to convince Kid to not do it. Kid want to do it because he wants his vengeance, and became sort of kind of like racing down the whole tower to get to Gordon, who hits his nuts with the skateboard. Sounds dumb, but it's exactly what would happen in the series. But this is the interesting part. Every single moment of that sort of challenge, that event, feels super cliche of anime tropes. The character who has more power, the character use sort of magic but using music, sort of action-packed, unexpected, the eyes glowing, and etc. Every single sort of cliche manga idea you can think of, it sort of happened under a few chapters, but everything sort of works so well with this comic. It just sort of intrigues you. Of course, this actually is plot B. Plot A is actually about Kendall trying to understand her emotion, figuring out what happened, trying to pretend that event never happened with Gordon, and seeing Kid out of school, being detention, wondering what happened, and Kid started explaining, well, let's say Gordon had a little accident. And that is just the most funniest thing I have ever seen, how that kind of smile, like showing you with video what it happened. But at the same time, also showing you sort of the relation with Scarlet with Kid, because she's trying to protect them, but at the same time she also want to do it, but obvious no, we should be adults about it. Even that sounds really awesome, but we shouldn't do it. And that is just sort of fun and interesting about this comic. It goes deeper, more relatable, understanding the relationship and friends around the group, sort of growing this sort of interesting kind of clique. But of course, during this time, he sort of pushed Kendall, Scarlet off her own skateboard, protecting her because something happened in between the sort of competition to stop him hitting Gordon's nuts. But because of this, Kid feels once again guilty. But this is the fascinating thing. That sort of moment, that sort of cliche, they can't move out of the school because it's raining, they have no brother. They have this sort of deep conversation, understanding you did it for me, you did it for you, why you did it for. He says he kind of needed to do it. It's something that he had to prove himself. Nobody could push him around or hurt anyone else. But it's just very honest, never super high and mighty or this is for me or anything. It's just sort of a true conversation. But because of this event, he kind of hurt another friend that he now second doubting himself, what he's doing is the right thing or not. So actually, Kendall started to talk with Scarlet to really understand the situation and convince her to forgive Kit. And that's what basically what happened of the whole thing. It was just so entertaining, so raw, but also action-packed, romantic, slice of life. Everything fits so well. This sort of 80 or 90 chapter, 2-chapter manga / comic, because it is so good, so impactful, so intriguing. You understand the character, even that they change the dynamics a little bit to fit how maybe Kid has this group of friends. Even that he only hangs out with Gunther, it kind of made it work. It kind of makes sense because every time you move a page, you gave into it, wondering what's gonna happen next. Even that this is supposed to be one chapter, it was so popular, the creator decided to do a second chapter just because people liked it. It's just that huge, because let's face it, it has 1 billion views on YouTube dubbed in Spanish twice. Yeah, that's how popular and loved this simple comic really is. In fact, I kind of recommend it, and no, I did not spoil the whole comic, even that I skipped a few things, but something if you are really love more Kid, you want more episodes, this is a perfect sort of a need. It's perfect to satisfy you if you want more. Especially, I recommend watch the dub, at least the Spanish. They don't have an English dub, but you can actually still read the comic or read the comic with sound effects because someone made a English version, but just with the sounds, no context. You don't hear someone narrating or anything. There is the other option, but other than that. Do you even heard of Welcome to Mellowbrook? Do you like this comic? And yes, I said the name. I do apologize, but it's one of those comics. Fan comic was so good. It's just so amazing. Just sort of re-energized the fandom a little bit more for a little while. Hopefully, the creator decided to do chapter 3. We honestly don't know. In fact, do you like the comic or you never heard of this comic? Because you can't read it in English or Spanish. You can find it very easily on Google. Just put the title of the comic and you easily find it. But other than that, it is surprisingly really good because nobody expected to slap so hard with this, and nobody expecting this was fall into so well to sort of comic slash manga. I said it again because this is feel more manga than comic. It more feel like a webtoon than anything else because webtoon sort of blended with a comic and manga with more coloring, but you get the idea. This one just really good. It's something I highly recommend, especially if you're a shipper who likes Kendall and Kit. You want more time with that. This is for you. If not, you just want another episode or two. This is for you. This was satisfied that specific need because I truly enjoy it. It's something that just sort of happened once in a long while because not every fandom create a good fan comic complement the original series, even that it sort of ended or not ended. That really just takes away. It really does have a sort of kind of happy ending. It don't really give you that sort of shipping finale in other words that Kendall and Kit kiss and up together doesn't give you that, but give you sort of a satisfaction that sort of forgive each other and starting hanging out with each other bit by bit to eventually find a date. They give you that sort of hints, but other than that, it is totally still worth watching if you're a fan or you like shipping these two characters. But other than that, I can't say much. I have just one question. Have you heard of this fan comic? Do you like a Kid Urban Daredevil? Do you enjoy this series and you read the comic or not? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.